last year I was invited to come to this thing, and I had in the back of my head an evening that I had shared with Jim many years ago, 35 years ago probably easily. And it had kind of been rattling around in the back of my head, and it gave me the impulse to, when I heard last year that this was going to go on, it kind of gave me the impulse to write something out, which I did. And then I promptly forgot about it, and then I got an email saying, well, why don't you do it again? And I pulled it out as if some other guy wrote it, and I'm going, yeah, interesting story. And then I realized although this certainly is about Jim, this is also an Athens story. This is a young fellow, serves in World War II. He comes from someplace else. He doesn't have from what I can gather, not too much. He comes to town, he sets up his life, he sets up a situation, he has a passion that he loves and a vocation that he loves, and he proceeds to share those things, and it turns into this book, okay? And it's also an American story, because that's also what happened. So, and blue skies. Let's hope that the future has some blue skies, although I think they're going to be smaller, and we better look more locally for our blue skies. Nonetheless, they're going to start it out because the tune that I shared with Jim was Blue Skies. Blue skies were definitely not the order of the day that chilly night. We were playing in the newly opened Cripple Creek Bar, formerly known as Mary Johnson's, now known as Tony's. Cripple Creek was started by Jim Warmke, a sharp, hard-working local young buck just put in a wheelchair by a motorcycle wreck. He was now putting his soul back on his feet by doing the bar. Now the place was strewn with coats and backpacks and guitar cases, lots of jeans, ponytails, beads, and sweaters from the Gringo Trail. A box of percussion instruments was passed around as the open stage degraded into a lively, if unpolished, jam session. We were set up by the street and just returning from a smoke break when the door opened. The smoke poured out of the door, and a ruby red helmet in a rather stylish black leather jacket emerged through the haze. Now think, James Dean, not Easy Rider here. When he took off his helmet and jacket, amid a stable of ponytails and flannel shirts, he exposed a fresh mown, flat top haircut. I believe he had a cigarette that he pulled on as we talked. I remembered him from when Hillary took me out to their place, and he took me and played the piano. He showed me how to stack chords, and I've never forgotten that ever since. Anyhow, I figured he just wanted to play my Wurlitzer piano, so I begged him to sit in. Mind you, this was a blues and rock-loving scene that was very committed to getting a serious buzz on to chase the cold and blues away. Amazingly, our boy wonder guitarist, Tommy Bernstein, knew some standards, and he picked up the bass. Jim launched into Blue Skies, and within seconds the place got real quiet. Pretty soon, various feet started tapping, and a spell seemed to come over the whole bar. When he finished, folks started clapping, and it was the hip equivalent to a standing, or at least a wobbling ovation. Just as suddenly as he had entered, He quickly got on his jacket and a ruby helmet. I could still see the smoke racing out the door, the helmet and the jacket disappearing into the night. For an instant, there was a pause, as if the universe stood still, as if the bar in unison had asked, "What just happened? Did I really see what I thought I saw? And most importantly, who is the guy in the ruby helmet?" Jim, if you're listening, know you're still in our hearts. Say hi to your folks and my folks and Tommy out there where there's nothing but blue skies.